I'm Jack, a tow truck driver with years of experience on the road, and this is the chilling encounter that still sends shivers down my spine, a night I won't forget, with an inexplicable and bizarre case that left me questioning my own sanity. It was a cold, foggy night in the small town of Oakwood, USA, when my radio crackled to life with a distress call. A stranded driver was in need of assistance on an isolated stretch of road just outside the town. Despite the eerie weather, I jumped into my tow truck, eager to help a fellow traveler in need. As I drove down the winding roads shrouded in thick fog, the darkness seemed to swallow me whole. A sense of unease settled over me, but I pushed it aside, attributing it to the weather and the late hour. When I reached the location, I spotted a sedan parked on the shoulder of the road. The car's hazard lights blinked in the fog, and a figure stood nearby. I pulled up behind the vehicle, and as I stepped out of my tow truck, I felt a strange sensation, like being watched by unseen eyes. The driver, a young man named Mark, seemed visibly shaken as he explained that his car had suddenly stopped running, leaving him stranded in the desolate countryside. He insisted there had been no warning signs, and the engine just died without any explanation. As I hooked up the car to my tow truck, I couldn't help but notice the fog seemed to grow thicker, swirling around us as if it had a mind of its own. An eerie silence enveloped the area, broken only by the distant hooting of an owl. As I started to tow the sedan back to Oakwood, I caught sight of something strange in the rearview mirror. A faint glow seemed to emanate from the back seat of Mark's car. I blinked, thinking it was a trick of the fog, but the glow persisted, casting an eerie light inside the vehicle. "Hey, Mark, do you have any electronic devices in the back seat?" I asked, trying to find a rational explanation. He shook his head, his eyes wide with confusion. "No, I don't." "Why?" I couldn't answer him, my mind reeling with uncertainty. I had never encountered anything like this before. My gut told me something was off, and my instincts screamed at me to keep my distance. As we continued along the fog-laden road, the glow in the back seat seemed to intensify, taking on an otherworldly hue. A shiver ran down my spine, and my hands tightened on the steering wheel. It felt like the car itself was alive, responding to an unseen force. Suddenly, the sedan's doors started to lock and unlock rapidly, as if controlled by an invisible hand. Mark's eyes widened in horror, and he pleaded with me to stop the tow truck. "I don't know what's happening," he cried. "There's something in the car." Fear gripped me, but I couldn't let my emotions get the best of me. I had to stay focused and keep us both safe. I pulled over and got out of the tow truck, my eyes fixed on the eerie glow inside Mark's car. As I approached cautiously, the fog seemed to part, revealing the interior of the sedan in all its eerie glory. What I saw defied all explanation. An ethereal figure, half-transparent, hovered in the back seat. Its glow illuminated the car, casting an otherworldly light on everything around it. My heart pounded in my chest, and I could feel the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. I had never believed in the supernatural, but there it was, an apparition before my very eyes. The figure turned to me, its features indistinct yet haunting. A sense of sadness emanated from it, as if it were trapped between two worlds, unable to find peace. "Who are you?" I managed to stammer. The figure didn't speak, but its presence seemed to carry a message, a plea for help, a yearning to be set free. I stepped back, unsure of what to do. My logical mind told me this couldn't be real, but my senses were telling me otherwise. The glowing figure before me defied all explanation, and a chill swept through my entire body. In that moment, Mark scrambled out of the tow truck, panic written all over his face. "We need to get out of here. This is not right." Without a second thought, I hopped back into the tow truck, and we sped away from that eerie scene. As we left the fog behind, the strange glow in the back seat of Mark's car gradually disappeared. We reached Oakwood in silence, both of us shaken to our core by the unexplainable encounter. Mark thanked me, but neither of us spoke of what we had witnessed again. That night left me haunted by the inexplicable and bizarre case that defied all logic. As a tow truck driver, I had encountered numerous challenges on the road, but this encounter stayed with me, a lingering mystery that would forever remain unexplained. As I continued my career as a tow truck driver, I always kept one eye on the shadows of the night, knowing that there are some things in this world that defy explanation and challenge our perception of reality. The eerie encounter with the glowing figure in Mark's car would forever be etched in my memory, a chilling reminder that sometimes, the things that go bump in the night might be more than just figments of our imagination. Let's hop onto story number 2, but before I begin reading, make sure that you have subscribed to Mr. Scare for regular horror podcasts. I'm Ethan, a tow truck driver with a passion for adventure, and this is the chilling encounter that left me questioning reality and testing the boundaries of fear on a dark and stormy night when I encountered a helpless teen in the middle of nowhere. It was late into the night when my tow truck's radio crackled with a call for assistance. A stranded teen had called for help after his car broke down on an isolated road in the outskirts of town. Despite the ominous weather forecast, my sense of duty urged me to respond to the distress call. As I set out on my journey, the rain came down in torrents, and the darkness outside seemed to swallow everything in its path. The narrow road leading into the wilderness felt like a gateway into the unknown, and a shiver ran down my spine as I imagined the eerie sights and sounds that might await me. As I approached the location, I could see the faint glow of hazard lights through the curtain of rain. The teen, standing helplessly by his car, looked like a ghostly figure amidst the desolation. He appeared visibly shaken, his eyes darting nervously around the gloomy surroundings. I parked my tow truck behind his vehicle, and as I approached him, a sudden gust of wind sent a chill through the air. The sound of the rain pelting against the ground and the occasional distant rumble of thunder created a haunting symphony that echoed through the night. "Are you okay?" I asked, trying to hide my own unease. "I am fine," the teen stammered. "My car just died suddenly, and I have no idea what's wrong." I reassured him that I would take a look at his car and do my best to help. My flashlight cut through the darkness as I examined the engine, but everything seemed fine on the surface. I suspected a more serious issue but decided to give the teen some hope. "Your car might just need a jump start," I said, trying to keep his spirits up. "But there's a problem, it's getting late, and the nearest gas station is miles away." Fear flickered in the teen's eyes, and I knew he was feeling as uneasy as I was about the situation. He had no choice but to wait for me to get back with some extra equipment. As I returned to my tow truck to fetch the jumpstart cables, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were not alone. The night was eerily silent, except for the occasional rustling of leaves in the wind. My senses were on high alert, but I reassured myself that it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. As I hooked up the cables to the teen's car, I noticed a faint rustling sound in the nearby bushes. I turned my head, peering into the darkness, but there was nothing to be seen. I tried to dismiss it as the wind, but a chill ran down my spine, and I felt a creeping sense of dread. "Did you hear that?" the teen asked, his voice quivering. I nodded, trying to keep my composure. "It's probably just an animal. Don't worry." But as I said the words, another rustling sound came from the other side of the road. This time, it was closer, and I couldn't ignore the feeling that we were being watched. The teen clung to my tow truck door, his eyes wide with fear. "We need to get out of here." Before I could respond, a low growl echoed through the night, sending a shock of terror through both of us. I could no longer dismiss the noises as mere coincidence. Something was out there, and it was closing in on us. Adrenaline surged through me as I hurriedly disconnected the jumpstart cables. "Get in the truck, now!" We both scrambled into the safety of the tow truck's cab, and I slammed the door shut. I tried to start the engine, but it wouldn't respond. Panic set in as I turned the key again and again, praying that the engine would roar to life. Outside, the rustling sounds grew louder, accompanied by heavy breathing that seemed unnaturally close. The teen's terrified gaze met mine, and I knew we were both thinking the same thing. What was lurking in the darkness? Just as I was about to give up on the engine, it sputtered to life. I wasted no time in accelerating away from that nightmarish spot. The rain lashed against the windshield, blurring my vision, but I drove with determination to put as much distance as possible between us and whatever was out there. After what felt like an eternity, we finally reached the nearest gas station, where I called the police and recounted our chilling encounter. The officers arrived quickly and investigated the area, but they found no signs of the mysterious presence that had haunted us in the night. As I drove back to the city, my mind replayed the unexplained noises and eerie sensations we had encountered that night. The teen and I had survived a truly chilling experience, and to this day, we can't fully explain what had happened in the middle of nowhere. I've been a tow truck driver for over half a decade, and this is one of the most chilling encounters I had during a late-night tow call that left me questioning the boundaries of fear and the haunting presence of shady people at shady places. It was a moonless night as I set out on my routine tow truck run through the desolate desert highways of the USA. The eerie silence of the night enveloped me as I navigated the dark, deserted roads, a sense of solitude settling over me. As I approached a remote stretch of highway, my headlights caught sight of a broken-down vehicle on the side of the road. My instincts kicked in, and I decided to pull over to offer assistance. However, a chilling sensation crept down my spine, warning me that something was off about this situation. As I approached the stranded vehicle, I noticed two figures standing near the car, their faces obscured in the shadows. The wind whispered through the desert, and the darkness seemed to swallow them whole. I hesitated for a moment, but my sense of duty urged me to help those in need. I rolled down my window and called out to them, offering my assistance. Their response was unnerving, a low, guttural murmur that sent a shiver down my spine. "Thanks, but we've already called for help," one of the figures replied, his voice laced with an unsettling undertone. Something about their demeanor made my instincts flare up, and I knew I had to be cautious. Nevertheless, I decided to stay and ensure they were safe until the other help arrived. As the minutes passed, my unease grew. The figures remained distant and evasive, refusing any further assistance and dismissing my offers to stay until help arrived. The hair on the back of my neck stood on end, and I began to wonder if there was more to this encounter than met the eye. Just as I was about to leave, my attention was drawn to a glint of metal in one of the figures' hands. My heart raced as I realized it was a knife, an ominous sign that set my instincts into overdrive. I knew I had to leave immediately, but as I turned my tow truck around, a sudden gust of wind swept through the desert, knocking down a nearby signpost. The clanging noise echoed through the night, and the figures glanced in my direction, their eyes gleaming with an unsettling intensity. In that moment, I knew I had to get out of there, but the eerie sensation of being watched intensified, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being followed. My heart pounded as I accelerated down the dark highway, praying that I had left the danger behind. However, the shadows of the desert seemed to conspire against me. My rearview mirror revealed the faint silhouette of a vehicle trailing me, its headlights off, making it impossible to identify. Fear gripped me as I realized I was being pursued by those eerie figures from the side of the road. My mind raced, searching for a way out of this terrifying situation. I knew I had to find help and fast. In desperation, I reached for my phone to call the police, but to my dismay, there was no signal in this desolate part of the desert. My heart sank as the reality of my isolation settled in, and the darkness outside seemed to close in around me. In a desperate bid for safety, I decided to make a bold move. I veered off the main highway onto a narrow dirt road, hoping to lose my pursuers in the labyrinth of desert paths. As I sped through the rugged terrain, my tow truck's headlights flickered, and I feared it would give out at any moment. The adrenaline surged through me, my senses heightened by the urgency of my escape. My heart pounded in my chest as I navigated through the treacherous landscape, praying that I would find a way out. The haunting presence of those figures stayed with me, a constant reminder of the danger lurking in the shadows. Just as I thought all hope was lost, the headlights of my pursuers disappeared from my rearview mirror. Relief washed over me as I continued through the dark desert, not daring to look back. Eventually, I reached a gas station in the distance, the lights a beacon of safety in the darkness. I pulled in, my tow truck's engine sputtering, and rushed inside to call the police. As I recounted my chilling encounter to the police, a sense of dread lingered, and I couldn't shake the feeling that those figures would forever haunt my memory. The investigation into the incident yielded no results, leaving me with a sense of unease and lingering questions. The creepy and thrilling experience of that night left me and the readers to perceive the chilling presence of those shady individuals in the middle of the desolate desert. The haunting encounter served as a stark reminder that danger can lurk in the most unexpected places, and one must trust their instincts to navigate the shadows of the unknown. I'm Alexis, a seasoned tow truck driver, and this is the chilling encounter I had during a late-night tow call that plunged me into a spine-tingling pursuit through the shadowy depths of the city. It was a moonless night, and the city's dimly lit streets cast eerie shadows that seemed to come alive with every flicker of the streetlights. The call came in from a distressed woman, her voice trembling with fear as she explained that her car had broken down in a deserted part of town. Instincts honed from years of experience told me that this was no ordinary call. A sense of foreboding loomed in the air as I drove to the location provided, my tow truck's headlights cutting through the darkness. As I arrived at the designated spot, a chill ran down my spine. The area was desolate, with no signs of life around. My gut told me to stay alert, as the eerie silence seemed to echo with hidden dangers. The woman was waiting nervously near her car, her eyes darting anxiously around her. She explained that her car had suddenly stalled, and she felt uneasy in this isolated part of the city. Her fear was contagious, and I assured her that she could wait safely inside my tow truck. As I began to examine her car, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. Every creak of the abandoned buildings nearby seemed amplified, sending shivers down my spine. Despite my unease, I kept my focus on the task at hand. Just as I was about to inform the woman that her car required further assistance, the distant sound of footsteps reverberated through the silence. My heart skipped a beat, and the woman clutched my arm, her fear evident. I peered into the darkness, trying to discern the source of the noise. The footsteps grew closer, accompanied by muffled whispers that sent a chill down my spine. I knew we were not alone, and I had to protect the woman from whatever threat lurked in the shadows. Without hesitation, I urged the woman to stay hidden inside the tow truck as I positioned myself between her and the approaching figures. My senses were on high alert, every muscle tensed, ready for whatever confrontation awaited us. As the figures drew nearer, I could make out their silhouettes. They were three men, clad in dark clothing, their faces obscured by shadows. An ominous aura surrounded them, and I knew they were not there to offer assistance. Adrenaline surged through me as I assessed the situation. I had to act quickly to protect the woman and myself from whatever nefarious intentions these strangers had. My instincts told me to trust my gut, and it was telling me to get out of there, fast. With no time to waste, I instructed the woman to lock the doors and stay low, and I hurriedly got into the driver's seat. My hands shook with tension as I started the tow truck's engine, ready to make a quick escape. Just as I was about to pull away, one of the men noticed us inside the tow truck. His eyes locked with mine, and a sinister grin spread across his face. Fear mingled with determination as he gestured to his companions, and they started running toward us. My heart raced as I slammed my foot on the gas pedal, the tow truck lurching forward. The tires screeched against the pavement as we sped away, leaving the figures behind in a cloud of dust. The woman held onto the seat, her knuckles turning white with fear. I reassured her that we were safe now, but my mind was racing with questions. Who were those men, and what had they intended to do? As I drove the woman to a nearby police station, I recounted the terrifying encounter to the officers. They assured us that they would investigate the situation and ensure our safety. In the days that followed, the police launched an investigation into the incident. The men were never apprehended, leaving a chilling sense of uncertainty in the aftermath of the encounter. The nightfall pursuit through the shadowy depths of the city left me to perceive the chilling presence of danger in the most unexpected places. The encounter served as a stark reminder of the importance of trusting one's instincts and remaining vigilant in the face of uncertainty. As a tow truck driver, I had encountered many challenges on the road, but this chilling pursuit through the night would forever be etched in my memory, a reminder of the lurking shadows that lie beneath the surface of the city's darkness.